What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. So here's the deal. Kevin Hart has decided to respond to the people that were giving him a hard time because this story is kind of related to yesterday. Yesterday's story was about Jussie Smollett and that whole situation. And if you remember, I did a video about Kevin Hart and him saying, like having his homophobic tweets get exposed back when he was supposed to host the Oscars, or when, well, he had been booked to host the Oscars, and then that scandal happened, and then it turned into a big thing. And I talked about it back then. I'll put the link to me talking about it up. But here's what happened. The situation happened with Jussie Smollett, who's obviously gay. Jussie Smollett, who's obviously gay. And Kevin Hart posted a picture of Jussie Smollett on his Instagram and put "sending prayers your way" at Jussie Smollett. This is unbelievably sad. Why are we going backwards? This is disgusting. We as people have to do better. WTF is going on in the world? Why are we falling in love with hate? God damn it, people. Choose love. I repeat, choose love. I will forever choose love, and I will continue to teach my kids how to do the same. Stand strong, brother. So Kevin Hart posts this, I'm sure thinking he's doing a good thing. Maybe he's met Jussie Smollett. Maybe he just watches Empire. Maybe he just wanted to reach out human to human. Maybe he doesn't really know him that well. Whatever the deal is, that happened. And then some guy named Ira, which I know is supposed to be somebody, but I'm tired of these people speaking for the LGBT community. And I haven't met this guy Ira. I don't know him, so I'm not gonna pretend like I actually know him. But I hate when people come at it this way, because he put "your funniest joke, congrats." So then Kevin Hart was like, I stand with a man in his time of hurt and need by giving him heartfelt support, and you take the time to harp on my 10-year past that I have apologized about and moved on from by being a better person. Do you want change? If so, I am an example of what you want people to do. Change. And then that guy Ira responds with, and I don't have it pulled up, but that guy Ira responds with, I harp on it because of what my LGBTQ brothers and sisters go through on a daily basis because of homophobia and that kind of stuff. And it's like everybody's mad at Kevin Hart. Well, not everybody, but the loudest part of the gay community is mad at Kevin Hart because he didn't apologize exactly the way they wanted him to apologize. Now, if you ask me, and I was the first one to mention, like back when he was saying I apologized for it, when it, like immediately after it happened, I scoured everything I could find to see if he had apologized for it, and he had not apologized for it. So then, once he decided to bow out of the Oscars, he put up an official apology. And if you look at the other clip that I posted about it, which I will, like I said, it'll be somewhere up here, so look for it. But if you look at that clip, you'll see that he definitely did like outright apologize to the LGBTQ community. So it's like, I get it if you're, well, I just don't get it. I gotta be honest, I don't get it. I'm tired of the LGBT community making it seem like we're all so unforgiving. Some of us are perfectly willing to forgive. Some of us remember a time when everybody was homophobic. And you know when that time was? It was 2009 and before. Because that's when Kevin Hart's tweets were from. And at that time, that's when everybody was deciding. Tracy Morgan got in trouble, I believe, that same year for his comments about if he had a gay son. It's like, that's just the way people talk. Now, for me, it's like, if we're not going to forgive people, why should people even bother to change? Why should people even bother to apologize? Why should people bother to see it our way? If we're going to be so unforgiving that we're like, no, unless you say it in these exact words at this exact time, then we don't accept your apology. No, now you have to be an official mouthpiece for us. You have to speak for the gay community every chance you get. And some people aren't like that. Some people are like, I don't speak for anything all the time. If you notice, Kevin Hart doesn't doesn't comment on a lot of stuff. I mean, like when it comes to politics and things like that. If he's asked in interviews, he'll say something about it, but usually he keeps it out of that so that he can continue to be positive, because that stuff does cause arguments. Like, no matter how I try to word things or how I try to be inclusive in certain things I say, because there was a point where I was a lot more like hardcore in the way that I would say things. But I found that no matter how I try to phrase things, somebody's always going to get mad at me. If you check the comments, somebody's always going to jump in and tell you how wrong you are and how hateful you must be and how stupid you are. Like yesterday's, I gave my theory, and I add a little bit of fun to it, but I gave my theory about what I think happened with Jussie Smollett, which I still feel like that's what happened. And just he put out a statement saying that that he had offered his phone records but not his phone. So we're gonna nose that out maybe. But I don't know. I might be bored of this story already after this. But so I mentioned the way I felt about it, and then a lady on Twitter called me ignorant, which is Twitter, so who cares? But at the same time, it's just like nothing about what I said yesterday was ignorant. Nothing about what I said was hateful. And the definition of ignorant means like, you know, like literally not knowing something, being uneducated. And if there's something that I know about, it's about being a gay man. I may not be the most educated guy in the world, but I've been out since I was 17 years old, and I'm at least 21 now. Don't laugh too hard. But I know about being a gay man, and I know the way some of us work. So I'm not going to say every gay man is the same, because that wouldn't be the truth, but I know the way some of us work. So that was my theory, and like, even if you don't agree with it, I definitely wasn't ignorant. There have been people that have gotten mad at me at certain things I've said, where is like, you know, I even said, that's not what I was saying. Like, you're changing my words to be what it is you want that to be. And then people have been like, no, what you said was, and it's like, okay, so I'll give you a screenshot and I'll send you exactly, or show you exactly what it is I said. Well, to me, that means, no, it's not about what that means to you. It's about taking the words that I said at their literal meaning in the exact sequence that I said them and using them that way. So they mean what I actually said, not what they mean in your head. And I can't help but feel like LGBT people that are like this guy, Ira Madison is the third, I think is his full name. People like this want people like Kevin Hart to be the whipping boy for all of the abuse they went through when they were younger, be it from uncles, fathers, kids at school. They want that person like Kevin Hart, because this is a person we can pin some homophobic statements on, which at the time weren't even considered homophobic statements. It was just the way people talked. Because we can pin these statements on him at a particular time, now he's supposed to be the whipping boy for every bad thing that ever happened to you as an LGBT man. And that's just not the way it works. Some of my best friends started off being homophobic, and legit homophobic, not hate crime level homophobic, but very closed-minded, didn't want to be seen with me in public, like that kind of homophobic, like nervous about going out with me when we'd hang out, you know, because they didn't want to be confused as gay. And some of those people have become my absolute best friends. So if I were to every chance I got remind them of the time they said something small-minded or stupid. And some of them are still learning. Like, all of us continue to learn and grow when it comes to things that are different from us. You know, I don't think you can ever completely understand what it is another person is going through if you haven't walked in their shoes. So you're always going to be learning. So if you're always learning, then every once in a while you're going to mess up too. Every once in a while you're going to say something that could be construed as homophobic or racist, or when you're starting to hang out with people that are outside of your norm, or you're hanging out with people outside of your norm. And one day you'll get it all down, probably, but it's, you know, it's so silly to me to not be forgiving. And I think that's what we as the LGBT community need to do, is show a little bit of actual heart and compassion when it comes to that kind of thing. No pun intended when I said heart, but a little bit of heart and compassion when it comes to that kind of thing, and be like, okay, you're learning. You're trying your best. You're making the corrections you need to make. I'm going to say, I'm big enough to forgive what you said in the past. And no, you didn't apologize back in 2009 when you said you had apologized like back in 2009. No, you didn't, Kevin Hart. And maybe that's what bothers people, is he still hasn't admitted that he hadn't apologized up until the Twitter apology. And if that's what you're saying and that's what you want from Kevin Hart, you've got to accept that some people you're never going to get that from. There are people in your life that you're never going to get an apology for. To me, what makes it unhealthy is Kevin Hart isn't in your life. So to really make it seem like this person is now has to run everything by you. Like when it comes to this guy, Ira, on Twitter, nobody has to run everything by you. Nobody has to make sure that their statements are approved by you. And if I were Kevin Hart, what I would have done as soon as you posted your funniest joke ever is I would have blocked your ass and ended it right there. It's like, why should anybody continue to deal with you when you're not ready to move on? Like, we want acceptance and tolerance in the LGBT community. We've got to give that same acceptance and tolerance, and not for hate, but for people saying, that's who I was then, this is who I am now, I want to move ahead. I say, move ahead. But I don't know, somebody's probably going to call me stupid for something I said here, which I will repeat. I do not know Ira. I have nothing hateful to say towards him. I don't like the way he handled this situation. So that's where I'm at on it. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.